Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Football Manager 23 experiment, where today we're taking a look at another comment that was made on Twitter, and if that would actually happen. The comment was, if PSG is in the Prem, they'll get the trophy back-to-back. Would they? Would they get the trophy back-to-back? Would they win the trophy at all? And there's only one way really to find that out, and that's by throwing them in the Premier League in Football Manager. And that's exactly what we've done. PSG, the same team as normal in the Premier Division. No changes to their squads. They've got the likes of Mbappe, Marquinhos, Neymar, Messi, of course, and Christophe Galtier is the manager still. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on. Are they going to be top four every season? Are they going to win the league? Are they going to win it back-to-back like Man City have done? There's only one way to find out, and that is by taking a look. So let's jump ahead a season, see the outcome, and see how things progress. So here we are then, a year on and they're third. So they haven't quite won the division, only 4 points off to be fair. They've made it a really tight race between them, Man City and Liverpool. But they have held on and managed to push them all the way. Mbappe getting 19 goals in the season, so joint top goal scorer with Isaac and Kane. So doing very, very well there. And Donnarumma, 16 clean sheets, only behind the likes of Alisson and Man City, who were sat above them in the division. So a pretty decent run for them. Let's take a look at how they did do generally in the league. I mean, they beat Man City 2-1 early on in the year, which isn't bad at all. Although they did lose to Man City in the Champions League group stage, which I guess because they're cast as a French team, they're able to play against an English team in there. Looking at that though, they got knocked out of the Carabao Cup in the third round pretty early on to Arsenal. Going into the second half of the season, they took the FA Cup pretty far. They got to the fifth round, where unfortunately they did end up getting knocked out by Man City of all teams, 3-2 in the end. Haaland, Bernardo Silva and Phillips getting the goals to knock them out. But what they did manage to do is end up winning the Europa League. So it's not quite the Champions League that they were looking for, but it was a European competition, and they won that by beating Real Sociedad 2-0 in the final game of the season. So not too bad. Looking at money, which I'm sure they would end up spending a shed load, especially with this sort of team and the sort of team they are anyway. We can see that they have brought in a couple of players. Lucas Hernandez being kind of one of the big names. Mehdi Taremi as well, also coming in there from Porto. 30 years old, striker. An interesting signing to spend that much money on. They've spent 37, rising to 44. The Iranian striker, I mean, he's very good, but is he really worth kind of that? He's got 1 goal in 15 appearances for them. Not perfect. And Victor Nelson coming in from Galatasaray. Interesting. Lots of loans out, of course. And then a couple of the transfers that we're fully aware of generally anyway. But no, they haven't managed to win the league just yet. But we will give them a couple more years to see if they're able to get back-to-back or win the league at all. So let's jump ahead again and take a look. So we are back in the Premier League a year on, and they're fifth. They didn't even get Champions League football this season. They've dropped right off the boil. Now, is that because of the issues they might have with registration? Possibly. Kylian Mbappe still got 20 goals and is the top goal scorer this season. But there was not enough clean sheets by the looks of it. Not getting Champions League football, not being able to get up there and fight for the title. So not really doing too well, I have to say. And it looks like they've lost a manager. I don't know quite what's happened there. Yeah, he's been sacked. He won 3 trophies. Nothing in the English leagues other than the Europa League whilst he was here. But there you go. He's been sacked. Obviously, they've been wanting a bit more than what he could provide. In the UEFA Super Cup, they did win that, though. They beat Real Madrid 2-0. Mbappe and Lionel Messi getting that one. In the Champions League, looks like they did quite well initially, getting a good few wins. Borussia Dortmund, Sociedad, Fulham, Sporting. Fulham isn't in that, but Sporting is. Beating Derby County in the Carabao Cup. Did end up losing to Wolves 2-1 in the Carabao Cup, though, which is a bit of a shocker, really, for them. In the FA Cup, how did they do? They ended up getting to they had a replay against Man City where they ended up losing 1-0 after a 1-1 draw, where Bruno Fernandes, who's obviously signed for them, scored in the initial game. They did get to the semi-final of the Champions League, losing out to another English club, Chelsea. But yeah, it obviously affected them in the long term. Kylian Mbappe looks like the only player that's really been scoring for them. Otherwise, they've been very limited in kind of the spread. Messi's not maybe helped enough. And same with Neymar. But let's take a look at that transfers. Wow, okay. Not really. What has happened there? Did he come in? Oh, Bruno Fernandes came in at the end of last season for £216 million. What? Okay. That's crazy money. I'm going to say that's maybe a little bit too much for him. They also ended up bringing in Jeremiah Ledesma and Leonardo Lello. But yeah, not much going on there at all. They did sell Leonardo Paredes to Juventus, Nordi Mukile going to Rennes, Junior Draxler, Southampton, Colin Dagba, Timothy Pembele, Kazawa, Garbi, Kari, Mitchut, all leaving the club for some sort of fee. And they ended up bringing in more than they've spent technically this season, although to be fair, you could say £216 million was also spent this year as it was right at the end of last season. But wow, that's quite the money spent for one player who you'd hope would probably make a bit more of a difference. He's obviously been playing behind Mbappe and Messi, fighting with Neymar, who wants to move on for a new challenge. Icardi's leaving. Dina Mbimbe wants to leave at the end of his contract. There's a few players in there that obviously aren't happy with things. You probably wouldn't be if you were PSG, being put into the English leagues expecting to win it back-to-back. But we'll go one more season. Take a look if they're able to actually win the league or even get in the Champions League at this stage. And we will see how that goes. And there we are at the end of this season. They're in 6th. Not the outcome that you would have wanted if you were a PSG fan. Still outside the Champions League. I mean, they might be in the Europa League, but that is it. That is all you're going to be getting. Not the results at all you will be looking for. Looking at competition-wise, obviously they didn't get into Europe last time. So they got to the semi-final of the FA Cup, where unfortunately they lost to Man City, who obviously run ragged against them. They had a poor last 4 games against Man City and Liverpool, two of the best clubs. Then Southampton as well, where they drew, and then Fulham as well. Messi and Mbappe struggling there. Aston Villa obviously playing really well this season, by the looks of it, coming in 4th place above PSG. Ended up beating them 3-2 in the end in one game. And other than that, they look like they had a really good period where they managed to beat a good few teams, although I guess they were drawing more games than they probably should be with the kind of quality they possibly have. Transfers wise, I mean, should we jump back one? No, they didn't spend stupid amounts of money. But what they have done is bought Cody Gakpo, Barella, Kim Min-jae from Napoli, Savio, and Patrick Berg, selling and releasing a few players. Vitinha going to Real Madrid, Sanchez off to Inter, Nogueira, Vimoj Muntu Wamungu off on a free, along with Samuel Noru Darut, and then Ander Herrera going as well. Just shows that there are a few clubs that are coming in for their players and kind of saving them, if anything. Cody Gakpo, though, a very, very good player to have brought in. 59 million, a lot of money. But at the end of the day, they didn't do it. They didn't win the league, let alone back-to-back. Maybe if we gave them a few more years, but still, they're not anywhere near it. They've got the likes of Kylian Mbappe in the team, and they're still not managing to do it. They've still got Messi as well. Kylian got 25 goals that year, more than Vitinha, who is playing at Aston Villa, formerly of PSG, and Erling Haaland on 20. Mbappe also got the highest average rating, and we can all see he got the most player of the matches. So he was carrying PSG at that point to 6th spot, where they weren't quite able to squeeze into the Champions League stages, having been 1 point away. But there you go. We will leave it there. Let me know how you think this has gone. Do you think PSG would be able to win the Premier League? I'm not so sure, but there you go. Thank you for watching. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below of anything you'd like me to take a look at with experiments, and I'll catch you in the next one.